April showers mixed with some snow is sure to bring May flowers, especially if you're inside Urban's farm and greenhouses here in Vadnais Heights. Hello everyone, I'm Judy Skyvoss, and this is the May edition of Local Image. And Gerry and Deb Urban, who own and operate the greenhouses here, are very, very busy this time of the year, as we found out in this Local Image segment.
We have 16 acres here, of which we farm about 10 acres, and we have, of that 10 acres, there's 8,000 square feet of greenhouse space. We start growing here on about February 15th, and we gear into May 1st. It doesn't matter if it's cold, if it's a cold spring or a warm spring. We got everything planned for May 1st. You hear timing is everything. Boy, in this business, about 4 to 5 good weeks of selling, and you got to hit it. And I mean, and on a weekend, that can mean from 3 o'clock in the morning till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And that becomes long days, and it's every day.
We're really spread thin on the weekends.
But all our greenhouses are tied together.
You know, during the week we have a little more time to kind of regroup and get things. We're still selling at the home here every day, but it's not as stressful as the weekends.
Yeah, I think we should get about 8 flats for the St. Paul market for Saturday and about 6 flats for the Minneapolis market. We need to
have most everything planted. We're still seeding herbs, and we're still going to plant a few late tomatoes, and now it's to continue to grow it on and to keep it looking good. And you know, it's a lot of work too. You need to deadhead, just taking off the old blossoms that have dried up. This time of year now, when the baskets get big, they take so much more water. When you start out with just little plants, you know, you don't have to water so often. But now when the sun's out, the wind is blowing through here, it's drying everything out, so it's continually watering and watering and watering. We have a lot of variety. We've got, I don't know, I'd say 20 different kind of herbs, maybe more than that. Tomatoes, we've got, probably at least 20 varieties of tomatoes, probably more than that actually. Peppers, we have the world's hottest pepper, which this year is the Carolina Reaper. We have ghost peppers, we've got all sorts of hot peppers, sweet peppers, red peppers, green peppers, yellow peppers, orange peppers. And then all the bedding plants, you know, petunias, marigolds, and patience. And then the bigger potted stuff, the geraniums, tuberous begonias, New Guineas, the vines, the spikes. And just a lot of different kind of not so common things. For instance, we have a popcorn plant. And if you walk by the popcorn plant or rub your hands on it, and I'll show it to you later, but it smells exactly like a bowl of buttered popcorn.
Yeah.
We have some help that we hire. Our kids help.
We've had some people, I don't know, 6 to 10 years. I mean, they come back. It's a seasonal thing, and we hired just about a week ago the 3rd person from Century's college's horticulture program.
All right, should I put that in your tray? Put it here in your tray. I'll help you to the car.
We hire a lot of, I'll call them young seniors. I've got a couple people that come down on the market and help us, just volunteer for, just want plants, and they like doing this, and they help. Just a half a mile from here is where I grew up, and we still have the family property belongs to myself and 4 brothers and sisters, and we farm about 10 acres of that. This land has been grown on since 1899. And continuously. So we want to keep it going for a little bit yet anyhow. Everybody doesn't mind on a real hot day when it's 90 degrees in here to get wet. They hate it when it's cool. I started going down to the St. Paul Farmers Market with my parents in 1956, and anyhow, I've sold to some people over 50 years.
When we bought the place, we had one little greenhouse on here, and then we just kept adding greenhouses and adding greenhouses, and this is where it got us. We have people every year that say, never knew you were here, never knew you were here. So I think a lot of people still don't know that we're here. But obviously, I mean, we've been here a long time, and a lot of people do know us. I think it's important to get your stuff from people that are knowledgeable, that actually, I mean, people that grow it, they know, and they can give you valuable information.
My friends at Walmart, for instance, and a lot of other places, they're growing maybe 1,000 miles south of here. You get them up on a harsh spring day in Minnesota, they just wilt, and they look nice when they get off the truck and it's downhill for a while. They'll eventually be okay, but these, as you can see here, how we open the greenhouse up and so forth, they get what growers call hardening off, and if you can get the plants hardened off, ours are gonna just be that much ahead. I've literally worked every day of my life since I've been 9 years old on this farming, so I can give you a 50-some years experience on how to grow something.
When you go to the markets or at home here, when you have good days, I mean, that's nice. That's fun. People are coming, the weather's nice, everything's favorable. You know, the stuff is going out, you know, you kind of like to see it get a new home, you know, so.
These are kind of my little babies, you know, and I actually get a little down when it's done for a while. Then I'm okay, you know, then I'm okay. But it's, to see these grow from, everything was small, and to see, you know, how nice I think they look, that's the satisfaction. 3781 Labor Road.
In Vadnais Heights.
In Vadnais Heights. Check us out, and most people are glad they did.
Just down the road a piece inside the Vadnais Heights Sports Complex is the Northern Educate Sports Academy, and students there were recently treated to a day filled with creativity and cupcakes thanks to Food Network's star of Ace of Cakes, Duff Goldman. Our Scott Jensen was there to capture all the off-the-ice action in this local image story.
Today we're at the Vadnais Sports Center in Vadnais Heights, and what we did is we had Chef Duff, world-renowned chef, TV show Ace of Cakes. He came in to share his experience and his love of hockey and how that turned into a very successful career as a top chef and cake maker throughout the country.
One day we're making my TV show, and we're in there, we're making the cake, and I look out and this black like limousine SUV pulls up in front of my bakery. The network had arranged to send the Stanley Cup to my bakery, right? So there I am making this cake, and all of a sudden the guy pulls this giant case out of the back of the SUV, brings it into the bakery, and pulls out the Stanley Cup, right? And like, I was losing my mind. Like, I couldn't believe it. Just the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. And then, you know, it was sort of one of those moments in my life where I was like, what did I do to get myself to this point in my life where all of a sudden, like, somebody thought that I was cool enough to get to like touch the Stanley Cup. You know, I was really thinking about it, and you know, the thing is I went to a special school. I went to an amazing school for cake decorating that was in California, and I learned how to be the best pastry chef I could possibly be. And you guys are at a special place. You know, this is man, I wish I could have gone to hockey school.
We have a school here, kindergarten through 12th grade, and part of the day the kids are on the ice, The other part of the day, they're in the classroom. Kids wanted the opportunity to have recreation during the day. So the concept of coming to school is exciting. When a kid wakes up in the morning, they say, hey, I get to play hockey today, or lacrosse, or I get to go figure skate, plus I'm going to do my school.
You know, I don't think that I would have been even close to as successful as I've been if I didn't play sports when I was a kid, you know? Like playing team sports, it prepares you for so many situations. How to deal with defeat, how to deal with success, you know, how to deal with just, you know, problems, how to be a functioning member of a team, you know, how to get a group of people to kind of all go in the same direction and work for a common goal. And so, you know, these kids got it great. What an amazing place, man. I would have loved to have gone to school like this. You guys, thanks for having me. This is really cool.
He had a passion for hockey, and he had a passion for academics, and that helped him find the opportunities to become this world-renowned cake maker.
The creativity continues in our next segment, where technology takes the cake, as several of our area high schools competed in Minnesota's regional first robotics competition held at the University of Minnesota. And we caught up with one of our local schools for this Local Image segment.
So today we're here for the second day of the North Star Regional event. The teams have been playing preliminary matches, and we're just about ready to finish that. They've played 10 matches, and this afternoon we'll take the top 8 teams, and they'll be able to pick their partners in a 3-on-3 match, quarterfinal, semifinal, final competition. So this year's game, and the game changes every year, is about shooting these 24-inch exercise balls. And as you can see behind me, there are goals that are 6 feet high that they try and shoot them through to get points. The first 15 seconds of the match is autonomous, so the kids have programmed their computers to try and shoot and score points. And then after 15 seconds, the kids take joysticks and actually control the robots. So they play offense, they play defense. The interesting caveat on this year is they get as many points for passing the ball to one of their alliance partners as they do for scoring points to the goal. So the robots you're seeing behind me were actually built in 6 weeks. There's a lot of sophistication on them. They have sensors, they have TV cameras, they have things to tell which direction they're moving on the field, and they do all that program and they do all the build in 6 short weeks.
My role in this all was I was designated as chassis captain, so I designed and worked with the chassis. I was given the CAD responsibility, so I built the whole robot on the computer simulation software. This is our bottom bar set for our 4 bars system. These are our moving bars. This whole arm moves off of these 2 bars and these following axis. So this whole thing rolls forward and sits parallel up to the front. Our drive motors are consisted here and here. Our drive wheels go here. We chain up to our front omni wheels over here, and these are allowed to spin by these rollers. Our piston up here works by a medical tubing system for our tension, and then a clutch-driven shooting mechanism in which this box and worm gear drives the box. And then in here we have a clutch, which is electromagnetic, and it releases to release the entire spool and tension. Our top arm up here has rollers to grab the ball and pull it in, so when we're on the ground, we can pull in a ball from the ground.
You know, one of the top teams right now is LeSueur Henderson. So, you know, I'll get a lot of questions about why don't we have a class system in robotics. And the fascinating thing is that the smaller schools do just as well as the large schools. You know, there's a small charter school called Great River, and they're one of the top teams this year. And the other interesting is that the teams that are good one year aren't necessarily good the next year. It depends on the strategy they take, how they design the robot, how well the robot plays the game, and it varies year to year. So the top team this year may not be the top team next year. So we have a lot of fun with that, and because the game changes every year, it sort of promotes that kind of activity. This is the 9th year of First Robotics in Minnesota. It started out with 2 teams in 2006 and has grown every year since then. We now have 186 high schools participating across the state. All the big companies that you're familiar with in Minnesota, our big sponsors are 3M and Medtronic, Boston Scientific, Pentair. The University of Minnesota provides these venues for us, and it's a wonderful thing for the kids, and it builds their interest and their passion for science and technology.
Now let's shift gears to a different field of battle, one that involves our military men and women who serve at home and abroad. Of course, we keep them in our thoughts and prayers during Memorial Day and throughout the year, but that is precisely the mission of Minnesota Military Radio.
So Chuck, on May 3rd, 1945, the Japanese aircraft attacked, the kamikazes attacked your ship.
They came at us like flies in a bottle. They were coming from every direction. We took our first hit port side, that's left side, amidship. It happened so quick, just in a split second. And suddenly I'm dangling off my telephone cord, held at the waist, fortunately, and I'm down on the bridge when the captain said, prepare to abandon ship.
We get our heroes in and tell their stories. There's a lot of World War II, Korean, Vietnam. There's people living among us that are really heroes, and we don't know it. They don't talk about it. They never talk about it, don't want to. And to be able to capture those stories and bring it to Minnesota is fantastic.
You know, as far as I know, this is pretty much the only radio show of its kind. You know, there are certainly military-produced radio shows, whether you're talking Armed Forces Network or elsewhere, but to have this kind of partnership between the military and, you know, commercial radio, I think is unprecedented. And you can see just by our success just how great it really is.
People really enjoy the content of the show. They like the way that it flows. They like the accessibility that the show has. Not only can you hear it Sunday mornings at 7 o'clock on KTLK, but you can also go to the website, MinnesotaMilitaryRadio.com. They're all archived there. It's won national awards. It's on a 20-station radio network, and people talk about it all the time. It's been a great ride so far.
Joining me now is Chuck DeMann, a World War II veteran of the Pacific and a member of the United States Navy. We've been at it 3.5 years. We're on 20 radio stations across Minnesota, from Austin to Bemidji, Grand Rapids, Alexandria. We're all over the state, and we've got a lot of listeners. And I just talked to most of those radio station managers in the last month to try to determine how many listeners. And every one of them tells me that when the show is preempted, their switchboards light up. People want to say, what happened to my show? I want to listen to Minnesota Military Radio. Well, in the process, in 3.5 years, we've met hundreds of people that we've interviewed on the show from every branch of the service, from every war that you can imagine. And there are stories for years to come.
Memorial Day, they do take over the airwaves for the morning show, and they get high-profile guests, and the information, the interviews, the stories that they tell are tremendous.
We've got guests waiting just like aircraft ready to land. But it's become kind of a tradition. The first hour of the show, the Secretary of State comes in and visits with me because he's a historian. A lot of people don't know that. He knows a lot about the wars and about what's going on. And that's a busy day all across the state. He's got track of all the activities going on. And then the third hour of the show is our military hour. And usually one of the generals shows up. This year, Brigadier General Lloyd Holt will be with us. And we've got a historian coming on early, and we highlight a lot of things going on around the state that day. So it's a busy show, and it's fun. And when I get home, I'm just going like this. I'm all wired up. But well, welcome back to Minnesota Military Radio. I'm your host, Tom Lyons. And
Tom is a go-getter. He is Mr. Over-prepared, not to a fault, but to his benefit. He has taken on the role of interviewer very naturally. He's done a great job at bringing the stories out.
Tom is great. He's a Vietnam veteran. He understands, what a lot of the veterans have gone through. He's gone through it as well. It's always something new. He's able to really translate it, I think, for our audiences. there's things that we as veterans, we have our own language, and for him, he's very good at bringing it out and making sense of it to the broader audience of Minnesota.
That had to be quite a day to witness the raising the flag at Mount Suribachi for you.
It was a huge event. The ships out there were honking their whistles, making all the noise they could, and people were cheering. And
it's just become something that I have to do every week. I have to tell these stories. I have to tell veterans how to get their benefits. I have to tell the veterans to go see their county veteran service officers if they need some help. It's been building and building. I'm blessed to be able to do it.
I have a book at home, The Last of the Tin Can Sailors, written by Jim Hornfisher. And in chapter 26, the first paragraph, I thought this would be appropriate just to repeat. When a ship sinks, the battlefield goes away. Currents move, thermal layers mix, and by the time the surveyors and rescuers arrive, the water that bore witness to the slaughter is nowhere to be found. The dead disappear, carried under with their ruined vehicles. No wreckage remains for tacticians to study. There are no corpses for stretcher bearers to spirit away. No remains to shovel, bag, or bury. On the sea, there is no place to anchor a memorial flagpole or a headstone. It is a vanishing graveyard.
They went to war in World War II, and they weren't going home until it was done, whether they went to the European theater or went to the Pacific. What does it take to do that? What kind of men, what kind of bravery does it take to go fight and just stay till it's done? In high school or college, wherever you learn your history, you don't get the emotions. You don't get the first-hand stories. And without the first-hand stories, you don't feel it. You don't understand what a wonderful thing it was that they sacrificed and did that. So for me, I think we're making a difference to the young people today and to all our listeners by getting that information out and getting those stories told.
Chuck, I'd like to thank you for joining us today on Minnesota Military Radio. That was Chuck DeMann, World War II veteran of the United States Navy in the Pacific.
As peace continues to flourish, it's good that we keep our service members, in front of our population here in Minnesota and elsewhere, so that they know what's going on both as a current service member or as they get out as a veteran.
Listen to the show, participate, with the show and however you can. MinnesotaMilitaryRadio.com has all the information. It's on a 20-station network. Let people know about it. We want to grow this thing.
We derive our support from the community, and oftentimes that starts at that Navy petty officer who retired 25 years ago and wants to do something for the troops and has a bunch of friends, wants to do something for the troops, and brings them all together as a yellow ribbon network. They're who we're trying to reach.
There's a lot of good things happening. There's a lot of good people out there taking care of our service members and their troops. And I would point out to you, they tell me that less than 1% of us serve in the military today. The other 99% are able to do whatever they're doing because we've got a free country, we've got a strong military. They have the ability to do that in a free democratic society. So to me, it's a real privilege to be able to tell the story of our military and all the people that help all the families and all the organizations they're helping, and the stories of all of our veterans that did some wonderful things in various wars.
Be sure to tune in Minnesota Military Radio weekly to stay connected to our troops and stay connected to us by tuning in next month for an all-new show. Until then, I'm Judy Skyvoss wishing you a very wonderful Memorial Day holiday, and until next time, I do thank you for watching Local Image.
kick off the winter sports season here on TV 19 Sports. On TV 19.
Health East Ways Wellness is more than eating healthy and getting fit. It's about providing the right coaching and guidance so you can feel good and live your best life.
Ways to Wellness is my journey.
Ways to Wellness is my way to achieve focus.
Ways to Wellness is my me time.
Ways to Wellness is my accountability.
Ways to Wellness is my endurance.
Ways to Wellness is my social time.
Whether you need inspiration or a hand to guide the way, Ways to Wellness is your partner. Find your way at Ways to Wellness.
Hello everyone, I'm Paul Anderson, host of North St. Paul Notes on Channel 16. North St. Paul Notes is a monthly show that will keep you up to date on the news and events that are of interest to the residents of North St. Paul. This month we'll visit with our new city planner, Corinne Hogan Wendell. So make sure you don't miss the May edition of North St. Paul Notes on GTN Channel 16.